Alright, welcome back guys. We are doing another episode of Dark Souls 2, and this is probably, just, uh, not a fan of this place. But we'll be okay, you know? I'm sorry, what? Yeah, dog doesn't know what to do either, bro. Do I move? Do I not move? Yeah, back away in fear. Alright, I guess we go down, because there ain't no way I can go up. Yeah, I can't jump. This game doesn't have like a solid state jump. Which whoever decided that, by the way, I hate you. Why can't I jump in place? Alright. I've been awfully quiet. My brain's just turned off, I guess. Um, is there anything really major to be discussing here? I mean, no, I'm not really. I mean, I'm very interested to see. I don't really want to talk about the government. I don't want. I'm interested to see where we're going in the future, though. This is quite the race. I'm most excited about seeing if Robert F. Kennedy is going to get in, because I was actually, I'm on that man's team. Um, I think his father was one of the greatest presidents that we have ever had. I think the things that he was trying to implement at the time were incredible. I don't really want to, like, I mean, I guess I got time, you know? But the way he addressed the American public, the way health was prioritized at the time, you really can't, like, that was like sort of a golden age for a little while, and obviously things are improving. Like, I'm not saying they've gotten worse. Like, I would still rather have TVs and cell phones and everything we have today, and obviously some things are going to need to change, you know? But man, back then they had just stuff going on. that was like you could go to the beaches, everybody was attractive. I walk into Walmart now, like I hate to, like you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Even at the beach, like it's the same effect. Like it's not like people change sizes just because they're at a different location. Um, like it's, and I'm not trying to be like fat phobic, but I do want to be like health centric because that's an important thing to me. And so, yeah, seeing him possibly getting into office is great to me because if he can, like, I'm not. He has a lot of views that, and some of them maybe I agree with, some of them maybe I don't, you know. But he's the only one I think that has represented any of us that may, at some point in time, be capable of changing the way that health is in America. And we can't say it's good. Like we're number two for like the most largest people. Like we're not doing good. And I don't necessarily think that's people's fault either. I think that it's like the food companies and the increase in calories and the decrease in nutrients and the factory farming and all kinds of things that we could maybe alter a little bit at a time. But this does not seem like a little bit at a time kind of, what do you call it, group of people running things. This seems like a, I do like the idea that they have to cut government spending because I'm super behind that. I think we spend so much money on things that we do not need to, and I think there's no counter for it. Like, there's nobody saying, oh, we shouldn't be spending money on that. And so, um, I think, yeah, we need to let Elon and whoever he's partnered with, they had a plan, okay? The plan was shut down all of the departments one by one, and if they think they're not necessary by possibility, and then to confirm they're not necessary, what you would do is, and they're not shutting down like shuttering whole divisions, although some whole divisions are going to get shuttered, but there are other parts where they're leaving sections open while closing sections of others. So like they're not going to close the whole military, but they're ending like DEI campaigns in the military because like equity isn't fair, right? That's not a concept of like that's not what our country was built off of. Um, so like I have felt the back ends of equity for the past like 4 years. I hate it, and I'm just not a fan. Like, and I know I'm not the only one. Um, and equity's great for things like kids, but like we're adults. Like it's it's not like, you know, I understand some people had like an unfair advantage, but it's not like we're starting people with more money, you know, to make everything like fair across the board because we're not doing that. That's not what this is about. This is about like, oh, they want to put specific thoughts and ideas into power that they agree with, and like I understand that, right? I get that fully, right? You don't want to have like opposition or whatever. Nobody does. But that doesn't mean like you get rid of like oil, for instance. Like we're not going to be able to switch off of that anytime soon, and we have so much in reserves. It's like to say, oh, we can just all go solar. Like that's super expensive, and unless you're willing to give money for it, which the government clearly was not, even though they could definitely fund that instead of like say the war in Ukraine. So yeah, like I think we could see like some major improvements over the next couple years. Because I'm pretty anti-war. I think since Vietnam, like my dad's friends came back and they're all telling their stories and they're all like, we wish we wouldn't have gone. Like it was horrible. And then what did we even fight for when we got back? People hated us. It was we went for the wrong reasons, and even they say that. So it's like ever since then we haven't fought a war for the right reasons. I don't think. Like since like there hasn't been a large-scale mass conflict that we fought for the right reasons since then, or since before that. And I don't even think we fought World War II for the right reasons. And maybe we'll do like a World War II history lesson in another video because it really, history is told by the victor. They teach you that in schools. And it really is told by the victor. The victor can make up whatever they want. And what you have to look at is what was happening in the economies and the people and the complaints, and you look at letters and old things. You don't look at like some newspapers, yes, but like you wouldn't look at like large scale newspapers 10 years after the conflict. You would look at newspapers from the conflict, you know. You wouldn't look at reports written on the overview after the conflict. You would be look at stuff that was written during or before it, actually. And so, at a certain point, literature gets thin, and it's super hard. But essentially, we did not. Oh God, where is she? That's not good. Oh, there she is. That's not bad. Why does she know how to get here? That's horrifying. Alright. Dude, she was like jogging against me. I don't know what was going on there, but that was wild. Alright, I think this is the way back up. But yeah, if you look into it, like people are like, oh, well, how did Hitler come to power? Like he couldn't have just been like, oh, I hate Jews, and everybody just voted for him, and they're like, oh, well, he worded it cleverly. He didn't do that either. Like the people elected him, and he didn't like trick them at all. Like their economy was doing horrible, horrible, and part of that was due to compound interest loans, like we have on houses. So like you know how you go to buy a house, and they're like over the course of 30 years you're gonna pay XYZ, right? And so you're like, well, XYZ is 2 times the amount of the actual house. So if you get a 200 something $1,000 house and you pay on it for 30 years, you're gonna end up paying like $600,000 over those years for your house. And so I think ending tax, which is what Trump was saying, is a good step in the right direction, but I think the final step in the right direction is outlawing compound interest loans. And that would definitely put him at war with the banking industry, which is something that we've seen currently happening with US Bank. They're being called out for debanking people. And I don't see much of this on Facebook, and maybe it's just my account, but I only see this when I go to X. And it's only people that are free to talk about it on X. Like, they're not free to talk about this on Facebook, even though Mark just did a video on Joe Rogan. So we're always like, yeah, I think he might have been, realistic, and maybe he's still trying to change things. Um, it's been like a week, and you see how much that uh, Elon has done in a week, and Trump has done in a week. So I'm like, Zuckerberg, what are you doing? It's been a week. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but for him it's been May weeks, and so I've noticed small changes, and that's why I'm still like hesitant. Maybe he's working on things. But I think freedom of speech is a big one that needs to be restored in America. I think part of the problem is England trying to fine them several $billions for people saying things on their platform that they refuse to revoke. So it's not like they're not fighting for it, but it does seem difficult. And I would also say, man, how do I get back over there again? I guess I gotta go down and over. That's fine. We can do that. Probably should take care of these guys first. You would burn me? That's not cool. Alright. Bro took care of himself for me. But yeah, I think, when I put like an actual amount of thought into it, I do believe we are in a change for a good direction. Like, it's kind of hard to deny that as it is, as it stands. Because so many things have been done after the government's been stagnant. Even people in the government have complained about the government, but they didn't want to lose their jobs. So it's like, And you can tell that these people, they're like not needed because they're changing their job titles to like senior executive and things like that in the government instead of things like DEI officer, which are immediately getting cut, and when they're put on administrative leave, they're being told not to come back. And that's fair. Like, we do not need that. Like, the amount of people that were cut from Twitter, everybody's like, oh, everybody lost their jobs. Great, go get real skills. It's the same thing Biden told the oil workers, except the oil workers, the pipeline workers had real skills. Okay. And he's like, go learn how to code. Like, one, coding is incredibly difficult to learn. And I guarantee you half them pipeline workers are dyslexic. So that may not be like a bright idea, having them try to learn code. That would be the equivalent of having the DEI people that we've had in charge the last couple of years still in charge. You know what I'm saying? It's just not recommended, I think. Oh God. Why does he hit so hard? Get him away from me. Sorry. Yeah, you couldn't get me trapped on the ladder because I fast climbed, huh? And that guy that runs fast don't climb. Yeah, alright. So yeah, that and there's some weird shit going on in LA. Basically, some people are posting Google Earth images that were taken by satellite. Damn, that's what happened to me last time. Alright. There's satellite images from Google Earth. I think that's what they're from. They might be from a different mapping device. But basically of people in a rail yard in LA, like in between locations marked on fire, where it basically just says, well, it says help, trafficking. And so I'm probably never going to be able to monetize this video after saying that, but that's fine. I don't need to. That's not the goal of this. The goal is to bring awareness to that, because if that is real, that is wild and needs to be addressed. That's fine. I can deal with being poisoned. Especially if there's a fire right there. Which I can guarantee you is guarded by something and or trapped. Let's just go like this. Alright, I'd earn that. Not guarded, not trapped. Waste of 2 heals. Alright, well it's only 600. So yeah, that, wild. I wouldn't... I'm hesitant because it's in a rail yard, so like anybody could have rode it and broke in. But at the same time, I'm not hesitant because, like, this is... You gotta... These kids are going somewhere. They're going missing somehow. Like, it ain't magic. Ooh, that wall gets done. That's how that goes. Okay. guess is the front area that I was struggling to get to. And that's the big ant. Yeah, that's the big ant. So I'll show you guys the big ant. But yeah, I don't think we went into World War II for the right reasons. If you look back to World War I, we actually had war contracts with Japan to help produce planes, like specifically companies like Boeing and Lockheed Martin had those, and or maybe Raytheon, I don't know what they were involved in. But specifically Boeing and Lockheed Martin were referenced in the paperwork that I was able to read, which is super hard to get your hands on anyway, because Google doesn't want to hand it to you. And so you got to use an alternate browser, and then you're looking for old paragraphs and newspaper pages and all kinds of things. But basically, the company that is now known as Subaru, and some of you may have heard this, was in charge of making the planes. Right. So, with Subaru in charge of making the planes, they're a Japanese company, and they've been renamed like 3 or 4 times, but originally they were like heavy something machines or something like that. And they produced like aircraft wings and things like that, so it's very viable that they had a contract going into World War II, especially since Hitler outright said, do not drag the Americans into the war. We are already fighting on 2 fronts, and we will lose the war if we do. And that's basically summarized in a big speech or a paper or something that I remember doing a report on him for. And so he didn't want us joining the war anyway, because he knew that it would spell that he loses. And he didn't want to lose, because he was fighting for his people, he was fighting for their economy. And in 3 years after outlawing compound interest, so basically instead of your house being $600,000, your house would be $200,000, and if they wanted to charge interest, they'd have to say, oh, your interest is 15%. And then guess what? You paid 15% of $200,000 over the course of the time you paid back that loan. It wasn't 15% growing every month. It wasn't like student loans are now. All of that was outlawed because it leads to the bankrupting of nations, which is historically why the Jews do not have a home nation, because every nation that they go to, they end up setting up a central banking system. And I shouldn't say the Jews, it's the Zionists, let me correct myself. But it used to be Jewish people, and they didn't have Zionists back in the day. The Zionists became a movement later on after the religion of Judaism spread, and there are good Jews out there. I have some good Jewish friends. Amazing people. Not everybody with a big nose is bad. Oh, whoa, oh. But yeah, you gotta go figure, like, just as many evil people, there's probably 3 good people for every evil person out there in the world. And that's why evil always loses and good always triumphs. But you had them going basically nation to nation since King Solomon and saying, okay, well, fair. You had them going saying, okay, well, we're going to set up a banking system and we'll loan you the money when you need the money. And every other religion on earth has called it something else. I think Hindus call it riba. Back in the day, the Christians called it usury. It was outlawed by everybody, everywhere. You could not charge compound interest on things because it was considered immoral. And in Jewish religion, it is also outlawed to charge interest to other Jews. But it's not outlawed to charge interests to other people. In fact, it is looked at as a good, like a favorable thing if you were to if a Jew were to give another Jew a non-interest loan, and that's written in their scriptures. So, I mean, that's not really my opinion here. That's just how it is. And so we're bringing this full circle back to World War II. Basically, in a small amount of time, I think a couple years, Hitler's economy began to flourish. He made Germany so wealthy, and yes, half of that wealth was stolen. But it had been stolen from them in the first place, so who was to tell them they couldn't take it back? And in steps J.P. Morgan and well, the bank, not the person. If he was alive, I think he would have been like a kid or something, you know. But in steps him, and so his bank says, okay, well, is this a boss fight? Ah, oh, there's no fire. That sucks. I don't know what boss this is. Alright, well, let's spark this so that way we can see this the next time. And so after he was making his nation after Hitler made his nation incredibly wealthy, basically in steps the banking industry and says, hey, we gotta stop this. Because if other nations figure out they can outlaw compound interest, and all of the residents will be able to afford things forever and everybody will live in wealth, they'll never let us establish this anywhere again, and we will be outlawed again. And so that's why they fight so hard for this. And again, like, over time in 1920s or 1800s, or even going back a little bit further, it's when the Zionists developed, I'm not really sure, that they began to have these backwards ways of thinking that were maybe not ethical. Like, it was, like, not to say it hasn't happened throughout history, of course it has, but this is when it really, like, what current day was leading to, this is what it started as. And so, you're imagining the banking industry is finding this a threat, and so they say, hey, well, we need planes, we need these, and then they petition the American people. They're like, hey, let's go to war halfway around the world. Let's stop these people, this immoral thing they're doing. And the American people, they just said no. They flat said no. So how did we end up in the war? Well, a lot of people say it was Pearl Harbor, maybe a couple events prior to that, but a lot of people will outright just be like, oh, well, Pearl Harbor was the reason that that happened. And they're sort of right, but what caused Pearl Harbor? And so you start looking into it, and do you remember when I said that we had, yeah, I know it's there, I think it's farther over there, I don't think it's right here. Just trying to drag some of them things out. But you remember when I said we had war contracts for planes, Boeing and Lockheed Martin did? Well, they also had government contracts and black budgets. And so, let's say somebody maybe could have given them money. I don't have receipts for this, but they were working together with the company that was involved in making the planes in the bombing. So, I mean, it's not crazy to think that maybe they had something else going on at the time. Maybe they contracted a couple planes and said, hey, you know, can you get these people? Wow, that's a lot of damage. At least it was only 2 ticks. I thought it was going to be like 5 and I was just going to die. But maybe they said, hey, make these planes for us and, you know, make a business deal, and things happened and one thing led to another, and they ended up closing that company, actually shuttering it right after the war, in like 42. And so after shuttering it in 42 or something like that, it was in the 40s that they shuttered that company. They reopened it, I think, under another name, and then somehow that it directly ties to Subaru. I don't think that was Subaru. I think that was the company that came before Subaru still. But you trace it back like 3 or 4 or 5 companies, and basically they're just renaming the company and quote unquote selling it. So, I mean, and I don't know what happened to people that were involved in all of this. It's hard to check their wealth statistics because, again, this was way back when. We didn't, they, as much as they like to claim they kept good documentation of everything, they did not. Not even a little bit. Alright, bro, I need to kill the poison thing. Ow. Alright, he's teasing me now. But, you know, it's not the first time Boeing or Lockheed Martin has come under suspicion for something like this. And I doubt it'll be the last time they come under suspicion for something outrageous. And this is one of the ones they don't even have to worry about because there's no way to ever prove it because all of the evidence is probably erased. Unless the government's hanging on to something wild. Which they might be. But I think that would be... That in and of itself, I can't use this anymore, it's gonna break. I don't have repair powder. Alright, so there is a person, and there's a reason we kept one more fragrant branch of yore. Yes, yes, we're just gonna pop 2 of these. Alright, this is a rough run. Okay, so there's not a person in the way on this one. In Skylar's the persons, there is. And so, when you're thinking about World War II, you have to think about it from both people's perspective. And so now you know why America wanted to join the war, and how they got America to join the war. And you also know which companies were involved, potentially. You know, it could have just been a surprise attack by the Japanese on the unsuspecting Americans that weren't even involved for whatever reason they said it was, because it definitely wasn't for anything other than that. Could have been. Could have been. I don't like coincidences, though. When I see the name pop up more than 3 times, it's usually something bad happening. And so, yeah, I would say, man, that's some bullshit. That's what I would say, but kind of earned that, actually. Pushing a little bit. Ping. Hang on. Okay. Oh, that was a bad move on my part. Well, that's cool, I guess. Alright. So we're gonna head down there now. Go back up here. We have a boss fight. And with all that learned, you find out that that's actually why Hitler was beloved by his people, is because he did incredible things for his people, and there's a reason the Germans are not allowed to teach their version of World War II history, because if they were, they wouldn't be able to lie to everybody about it. It's as simple as that. Um, and we would look like the bad guys because we are controlled by the banks, who are controlled by certain groups of individuals. Okay. Yes, this went off, but that's fine. And now, this isn't the first conspiracy that JP Morgan's bank has been involved in his family lineage. He was also involved in the sinking of the Titanic, or quote unquote the Titanic, because it wasn't actually the Titanic. You're like, it wasn't actually the Titanic? No, no, look that up. Look that up. There's solid evidence of that. And, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there are some hideous things that have been done throughout history. And we do not even know half of them. And I mean, you can look into the money transfer that came with that, if you want. After the Euro project didn't go live until like the 90s and maybe like the early 2000s, but the Euro project was established shortly after Germany fell apart, after World War II, and that was the biggest transfer of wealth in the world's history. I think you can take a guy's arm off if you hit him off. We're not going to do that. I do see his arm taking these hits. I just don't think that I can do enough accurately to get it to fall. And this is another one people farm because he's a little easy. Alright, thanks for that. I appreciate you, big dog. Lots of openings. Crawl this way. Clear some room, heal, no time to... Okay, heal against that one too. Keep giving me these sideways swipes and I don't like that. What, does he not do the weep swing if he misses the first two? Oh, come on, die. Thanks. Great soul? Great soul? Psh, psh. Great soul. Great soul. Okay. What in a great soul? Where's the exit? Isn't it like right here? There it is. But yeah, I would encourage everybody to look into the real history of World War II. And then look into current history and how to make it better. Because we have been avoiding truth for so long that it's ingrained in people. Like, people will just... I encountered a guy the other day, he was just lying on Reddit to lie. Like, why? I thought you wouldn't appear. Because I don't have the Scholar of the First Sin.
No one has come this far. for a very long while. Young Harlow, do you wish to shed this curse? Then accept the fate of your ilk, and yes. Young Harlow, there are but two paths. There may be a tomb, very few, and yet yours a half-grown Harlow. Young Harlow, he who, the Vendrick, fledgling Harlow.
Yeah, not a problem. Can do. I think that's all 4 of them, ain't it? I think we did the Iron King. But yeah, I think a lot of people not understanding the falsity of the things that were taught in schools, like the ability that they ingrain into you, like when they do that to your brain, they break its ability to like reason again, and it becomes easier the next time. So you have to teach truth to kids, especially since like you're molding minds. And like at no point you'll notice that I mention the Holocaust, because that's not what World War II was actually about. We did not go in to save those people because we are good people. We went in to save those people because we were attacked. And what, was he doing something horrible? Absolutely. Are there horrible things going on right now? Absolutely. Are we endorsing those things? Probably. We're probably endorsing some of those things.
Thank you kindly.
And some people may say we're not, but I can almost assure you we probably are. Like even as a common citizen, like I was 95 to 99% confident that we had bioweapons manufacturing facilities in Ukraine, and that's what we were funding to keep open, which is against the Geneva Convention, by the way. Where are we headed? I think you have a door for me. She told me to go to Vendrick. Forgot how to get to Vendrick.
Is that a shard? Here, to see how it...
It's gotta be the Shaded Woods, right? Ruined Forked Road. Yeah. So, if you get a chance and you get to read up on it or look it up, go ahead and do so. And try to see things from both people's perspectives. And if you get the chance to look at how that would apply to your life right now. And what things that would have changed. Okay, so did they have a filter here they can't go past? I think they do. Bro is ready for war. I do apologize for the incoherency of my thoughts. Dark Souls is not an easy game. And I just do that a lot. I give myself pauses, breaks. I want to be able to think about what I'm saying and try to think about how I can correct myself if I would take it the wrong way. See, like right there, I was like, should I say something that's incorrect? But sometimes I don't say things that are incorrect. I say things that are just off-putting to the listener, and there are ways to correct that because they could be wrong, could be right, and there's just not everything is a blanket yes or no. I think that's a lot of what some people struggle with is it's not a yes or no anymore. Like you can't say, oh, everything is just black and white, because not everything is black and white. There are some things that are black and white, absolutely, a lot of things, but there are a lot of things that aren't black and white. And there's a lot of things that are going to fall into a grayer area. And this is DLC, I think. I think we just travel through and go to Drangleic. Oh look, repair. We could use that. Alright, it's not broken. I had to double check. Yeah, we'll probably end up using this in this area. Ooh, these guys. This is different. Bada bada bing, bada bong, bada bong, bada bing bong. Bing bong, bing bong. Thanks. Ooh, darkness. Archive, envisioning, absolute horror. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, real history of World War II, and why I don't support war. Right there, in case you were wondering. Blood is supposed to protect his homies, and he is not doing that. I also think it's important to note that when you are reading history, it's important to look at who wrote the history. So, even if it's older, the literature still may not be what you want to hear, and my recommendation would be to always go with the opposers. So like if you wanted to know about like how the US is currently doing, you shouldn't ask the US. The US is going to lie to you about how the US is doing. It's going to embellish it. Same with China, same with Russia.
This
So you should
castle is
ask China
none
and
the to
Russia
bring an
how the
end to.
US is doing. Okay. Like you gotta be like I wouldn't ask the UK anything because they just keep lying about everything and jailing people for free speech. So like if a country's doing that, they're gonna say what they want. You know what I'm saying? And then you can only take half of what they say as realistic, which is already generates problems. Because like how are you gonna be like, oh, half of what you say is true, half of what you say is false? How do I trust what? But I would still say, okay, go to a different country and see what they have to say. Go to a second country and see what they have to say. Cross-reference it with what we're saying and pick somewhere in the middle. And if they both sides are saying the same thing, that part's probably true. But if both parts aren't saying the same thing, that's completely not true. You should get absorbed. Cool. Sorry. It's just easy. More, more, not more. Why more? Oh, needs another one. Pretty sure there's a fire seat over here. Yeah. Like, and I think what I just said applies to things that coexist inside the same system as well. Like, for instance, when I'm reading articles about people getting deported, I would rather read them from the Democrats' perspective where they're complaining about it, because they're going to tell me everything that's going wrong, right? And whether I agree with it or not, I have my views about it, but personally, I don't think my YouTube would like me sharing those views. So, if I was listening to whatever somebody said, oh, I did this, okay, well, I want to know what your opposition had to say about that, because you may not be telling me something that I need to know, and that is very important. And that's why I think Trump was the correct president to elect, because of transparency that he has as a goal. I think lying as a culture has come to such an extreme that, like, it breaks minds at a young age, and kids end up. I think that's like part of what makes some people develop autism, is that just being lied to like a lot, and like other personality traits that are maybe not so positive. It's just people aren't honest anymore. Like it used to be, you had to worry about tricksters, you know, or liars and thieves, and now everybody has the opportunity to be one of those things in the right circumstances. So it's like character has fallen a great way. Can you not? Alright, let's talk to him since we're out of spells.
Who are you? And by who?
This cup is...
Yeah, something about Vendrick, the Queen. I'm here to kill your husband, lady.
Just...
Will you sell me things already?
What?
Okay, well, at least I didn't buy it. That's worth it. Booyah. And infinite repair powders.
My lord, our king has... King Vendrick.
I defeated the 4 great ones, sort of. I didn't collect their souls, because 2 of them you can only acquire in New Game Plus, apparently. But, who am I to judge? Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't have to let me backstab you, but I'm gonna backstab you. Or just hit you with a mace. My pacing is excellent. Thanks. Yeah, you can't get away from me. Sorry. So leading down, I don't think that's the fire. It could be. I could be wrong. Try left. Okay. Okay. Now I'm confused. We'll go down this way. I was hoping to find a fire in here. I think it's at the end of the hall. Up. Come on, I know one of you is real. I don't feel like being surprised. Maybe not. Oh man, they are so nice. Bonfire through here, huh? Thank you.
Bearer, seek, lest.
Yeah, I think to explain that autism thing generation a bit more, I think what's happening is people are seeing things that aren't being aligned with what they're told. And so eventually their brain just kind of like tweaks out of availability and it just has to accept numbers and patterns and things. And that's why they become really good at things like numbers, pattern recognition, oh, what model train is that, like machines, things like that, mechanics, because those things don't lie, like at all. And that's also, I think, why a lot of them struggle with speech, is because they find it not as important anymore. Like, because if anybody can just say anything and it doesn't have to be true ever, why would you ever listen to what people have to say? Or at least why would you take it at face value without double
You
checking
need
it?
armor? Are you sure?
I hope you do sell out, because you don't have anything good. We already did down there. He's done. I'm missing a couple quests, but I don't remember where they are or what they are. Let's just run around for a bit.
No interest.
How are we doing on chunks? Have I found 3 more? Nope. What are we doing about? Yeah, it's only a rank C, rank B. I mean, that's kind of nice. Poison on contact, the strike attacks. What do we got that we could use instead? Let's look at our shields.
Don't waste my time.
Bro acts like his time is important. He's just sitting there hammering. Forever. That's pretty good, actually. This is also pretty good. I really don't like parry and strike, though, and we have leveled things up to be able to take stuff, you know. That's also incredibly nice, because it comes with way more stamina block. That's even 5 more than that, but we don't have 16. $40? I don't think I would put that on anyway. I think we're gonna go here, because, yeah. And that looks alright, too.
What?
Yeah, me again. What does it take to level this stuff up? Twinkling, you. I don't even know what else I would wear. Probably this. The bandit armor isn't bad. Like that. I heard, let's see, the Hollow Warrior waistcloth that comes with a lot of poise. Oh yeah, the Alone Champion armor. I don't even think I can put that
Don't
on.
waste my
Vengarls. Well, Vengarls is better for lighter weight, it looks like. Or maybe lighter poise. It's lighter weight. think we stick with the lion cuffs. Those. Yeah, yeah. It keeps me well-rounded, I think. Unless Vengarls is pretty good. He does have some pretty good boots, and it does put us right on the roll line. Yeah, that would be way too heavy. Yeah, unfortunately, that's way too heavy. But gosh, his armor is real tanky. I like that. Alright, we're gonna stick with that. Hey,
You would.
old man, level this for me real quick. This is also twinkling. I just noticed this. So we're probably not getting any twinkling Titanite weapons this run. Alternatively, we could go like EKA, the elites. But that has such an armor loss drop, it's insane. Yeah, the armor loss drop's just too much on most things to consider it. He's just so tanky and so light. It just is. I think no on that. This is the tankiest piece, so it gives us the most every time we upgrade it. So I think we just stick to doing this because we have the Titanite for it. Let's see if we
I'll
have
be
a thing.
around if you make it back.
I wish you would just let me cycle. Yeah, we do. I would also like to encourage you, if you notice anything I'm saying that's wrong in the comments, I'll be more than happy to pin it. Just tell me how I'm wrong. Don't be like, oh, you're wrong, Trump's a racist, because I'm not going to pin that. You're an idiot. Like, I don't want your opinions. That's not, if I said something that was wrong about world history, or can be verifiably checked as wrong, definitely let me know. Oh man, dude, this makes us so strong. Like, you guys have, like, if every piece had 300, we could almost become immune. Like, the fact that we can get to 300 with this piece is insane.
I'll be around if you make it back.
We're gonna take so much less damage. Alright guys, well thanks for tuning in and listening to me talk about bullshit. I will see you guys in the next one.